So by now, you'll have an application with Redux store setup with navigation setup. So let's start building the screen layouts. So in this video, we'll be creating the homepage for our application, the homepage that you saw in the demo video. So let's get started with the homepage. So let's get started with the designing our home screen first of all. So in this particular video, as we are going to design the layouts for the home screen. So as you can see, as you saw in the demo, that on the very top, we had a title of our application, and then we had a banner, and then we had all the recent trips that we had. So for that, it's very easy. First of all, I just remove these two things. This was just to show you while I was creating this. I'll save this. So okay, we have a blank kind of canvas right now, and it's going to be fun writing the code inside this. So for first of all, inside my view, so there are two parts inside my view, as you can see. First one, as you saw, first one is I just trying to visualize it. Then there is going to be a title, then there is going to be a banner here, and then there is going to be all the recent strip that we had below that. So on the first view, what I'll say is a header. So I'll say view, and inside my view, I'll say a text, which is Trippify, just the name of our application, Trippify. So as you can see, Trippify is visible here. So I'll just quickly give it a class name. Class, basically by class name, I mean give it the name of the styles that I have. So styles dot home header, and for this I'll say style is going to be let's say heading, styles dot heading. And just by going here, I'll quickly style both of these things. So first one is heading. So inside my styles object, I try to sort it alphabetically so that it's easier to find the particular object whenever we need. Otherwise, it's very messy and it takes a lot of time. So heading comes first. So I want it to have a font size of, let's say, 28. And if I save it, you can see Trippify is visible here. Next up, I want it to have a font weight of 600. Font weight of 600. Now again, 600 should be enclosed inside your quotes, otherwise it will give an error. Now I don't like the black color here. I'll just give it a different shade of dark color. So I'll just go to my theme, and I'll write a hex code here. So let's say text, the code for text is hashtag 677987. I found this code on internet. You can find any color you want and you can use that. So I'll go to my home page, and I'll say color is going to be colors dot text. So yes, as you can see, it's a different shade of black, or you can say it's a subtle color which is not very hard on the eyes. So now that we have our heading, I'll just style my header a little bit. So I don't need to style the header since the heading is looking fine. So let's get started with the next part of our application, next part of our homepage, which is to have a banner container basically. So which is a view. Now inside this view, I just have one image, which is, so you have to import the image from React Native actually. Image, I'll just close this part so that you can see it better. So for the image, you need one thing, which is source. So source is going to be images. I'll just import the images dot Trippify banner. Now as you can see, this banner is visible, but it's looking very ugly. We'll quickly style it. So we'll give it a style name here. The container is going to be banner container. Let's give it a style of styles dot banner container. And for this image, let's give it a style name of banner only. Styles dot banner. I'll quickly go and style these two things. So since B comes before H, it will be on top of this. So first of all, I'll style my banner. So for banner, I'll say that give this banner a width of, let's say, 150%, because I want to stretch it through the entire screen. So which is 150%. Yep. And since it's looking very ugly right now because it's not centered, there is no height for this. So I'll say give it a height of 300. Yep, this looks good. And final thing that I need is the resize mode. There are certain resize modes that we have. You can check it out on internet. So I'll be giving just contain. So there is cover, there is contain, and there are others as well.
So this looks better. Now this is like moving a lot towards the right of the screen. There is a lot of gap here. So what I have to do is I have to fix this. So for that, what I will do, I'll just go to banner container, and I'll style this out. So for banner container, what I have to do is I just have to center it. So I'll say display flex. So there are a lot of jokes around developers that they don't know how to center a div, but it's fairly easy with just 3 lines of code. There are many ways, but I like this one the best. Justify content as center and align items as centers. That's it. With this just 3 lines, you can center everything that you have. So this is it. That's how you can center your div here. So yep. So your as you can see, your banner is centered here, and if I just increase it, I have to see the screen wrapper for once, that padding bottom, padding horizontal, padding top, everything is there, but still it is looking a little weird. I think it's fine. Let's move ahead with other part. So apart from our banner, the next thing that I have here is uh, obviously a button here to add new trip. So a button should be here to add new trip. So for that, what we have to do is to give our banner container a position of relative. Since we are going to position our button here, which will be an absolute position, we have to make that sure that our banner is relative to it. So what we will do it, banner container position as a relative. So now what we will do, next to our banner, inside our banner container, next to our image, I'll say touchable opacity, and inside my touchable opacity, I will keep a div which is an add trip button. So I'll say view, and inside my view, let's say a text which is add trip. And if I say, you can see this add trip is here, I have to shift this add trip to here. So for that, as you can see, for the touchable opacity, on press function first of all. So on press, I want it to navigate to add trip screen. So what I'll say, I have already imported navigation from here, extracted navigation. So what I'll say here is navigation.navigate and to the screen name that we want, which is add trip. So now if I click here, you can see I just go to add trip. I'll have to reload this so that I can go back to the screen. Yes. Now I'll give name to these so that I can style it. So the touchable opacity is here. I'll just give it a name of this view, a name of styles dot add trip button, and this a style of, let's say, button text, add button text. So styles dot add button text. So now if I save it, so I just have to style this. So first of all, add button text, uh, add button text here. For the add button text, the first thing that I want is to change the font a little bit. So I'll say font weight, the size is correct, I just want to make it a little heavier. So I'll say font weight is 700, and I'll change the color to be color of text that I saved. So as you can see, it is changed now. And for the button container, which is add trip button, what I'll say, add trip button. To style this, first of all, I need to have a position of absolute, position of, let's say, absolute. And next thing that I want this to have is a padding vertical, a little gap between the border and the text. So to show the gap, first of all, I'll give it a background color so that it's visible. Background color of, let's say, colors. Okay, so first of all, I'll have to declare a white color. So I can use hash code FFF here only, but it doesn't make sense to use a theme file and then again writing hash code inside your style files. So FFF, this will do. Now if I go to home and here colors dot white, as you can see, a white color is now visible behind the add trip button. So to show the effect here, what I'll say is that padding vertical means padding from top and bottom. I want this to be 12. Yep, looks good. And next thing is padding horizontal, which I need it to be more than my vertical. So I'll say 24. So yeah, it looks good. Next thing is I want the corners to be little rounded. So for that, what I will do is I'll say that border radius should be 18. So this will, yeah, this is looking quite good, and maybe it's looking a lot, so I'll just say 12. Yep, this looks good. So, or let's keep it 18 only. Yeah, add trip button is here. Next thing that I want is to just position it accordingly. So from bottom, I want it to be, from bottom I want it to be 0. Yes, so let's make it 20 actually, so that it's partial. Let's make it 30, 25, so that, yeah, this is good. And from left I want it to be, 50, and let's make it 70 actually. Yep, this looks good. Was 50 was good. So as you can see, there is an add trip button now, and if I click on this, I'll go to add trip section. I'll just reload this. So our top banner part is done. Now I just have to create the bottom part where there will be an empty state for no images, and there will be cards for all the trips that I have. So to do that, I'll just go to the code, and next to my touchable opacity here, next to this, I'll have a text which will say recent trips. I'll capitalize this, recent trips. So yes, as you can see, recent trips is here. Also, what I can do is banner, let's make it 180%. If I make it 200%, this isn't going much actually. So let's make it 100, let's make it 150. Yeah, this looks good. So for the recent trips, what I'll do is I'll give this a class name, sorry, style name of styles.subheading. So styles.subheading. Now I'll just go here and I'll style my subheading. So this subheading is going to be an object where subheading has to have a little larger font than what it already has. So I'll just say font size to be 18. Now you can see it's large. Next thing I want is to have a font weight of same as that of Tripify basically. So more than Tripify. So I'll just give it a font weight of 700. And finally a different color. So I'll just say color dot text. So now you can see it looks good. It's quite subtle. It's easy on the eye. So yep, now that we have our subheading, the next thing that I have to do is to create a flat scrollable component here. So what this scrollable component will do, so let's say we have 20 trips, so that I can scroll only this particular part of my screen. So for that we are going to use flat list. So if you are not familiar with flat list, just go to the React Native docs, just search for flat list, and you can see here is the flat list. The examples are really great here. It's fairly detailed. You can check it out what flat list is, why it is being used, and so on. So for this, I'll just create a mock data here. Let's say mock data, a mock data of trips basically. So it has to be an array. So for my array, what I need is, let's say, ID. Obviously ID is one, let's say. Second one is a banner image. So for this, what I'll say is, not images, I'll say thumbnails dot. So thumbnails was an array, so I'll just get the first image that I have, and the next one is place, let's say it's Goa, and next is country, let's say country is India. So instead of getting an thumbnail image by index, what I'll say, I'll create a function to get a random image every time. So what I will do is I'll go here, I'll go to my assets folder, and inside my assets folder I'll create a function, let's say export const get random image. So, or I can just say random thumbnail. Now what this function will do, this will automatically generate one random image from all of this 10 available. So for that I'll use const rand, which is a random number. So I'll say math.floor. If you are getting confused that what I'm writing, it's just simple JavaScript. You can find this on internet as well. So how to generate a random number between 0 to 10, sorry, 1 to 10. So this will be into 10. So now what this will do is, this will generate numbers from 0 to 9, basically 0 to 9 index for all these 10 images, and then this will return let's say thumbnails dot rand. So this can return any random image from all of these. Now if I go to my home screen, which is this one, so instead of thumbnails, what I'll say random thumbnail function. I'll just call this. So a random banner will be generated and will be assigned here. I'll just copy this. I'll copy this again. So let's say 2, 3, and few more. 4, 5, 6. 6 will do. So 4, 5, and 6. So integrating a flat list is very easy. What I just have to do is I have to call a flat list. Before that, I'll have to import the flat list from React Native. So I'll just close this once. And yep, so from here, I'll say flat list. So it's imported. Now, next to this text that we will have a flat list wrapper first of all, which will be a view. Inside our view, we'll say flat list, and I'll just close this. So this is a self-closing tag. So flat list needs a data first of all. So the data is obviously our mock data. So yep, nothing is being shown right now because we have to pass certain things. The very important is render item. So now what render item is do, it's a function. Basically it takes whatever each of the item inside this data, and for each of the item you have to tell what should flat list do. So what I'll say is take each of the item like this, and for each of the item let's say instead of curly braces, let's just return it directly. So let's say that there has to be a touchable opacity, which means basically a button which will take me to that particular trips page. So inside the touchable opacity, I will have a view, and inside that view, first of all, I'll have an image, and image will be just the banner. So for this, let's say source is going to be item dot banner. And is it visible yet? No, it's not visible yet. So next thing is item dot banner, and next to the image I have two text. One is place and one is country. So one is this, which is item dot place, and finally one is another text which is item dot country. So item dot country, not n, like this. So we have image, we have text, place, and a country. So this is all that I need inside a trip card basically. So I'll quickly give them names accordingly, the style names accordingly. Style is equal to styles dot let's say trip card, and for this let's give it a style name of trip banner. Style is equal to styles dot trip banner, and for this let's give it a style name of styles dot let's say country place, and similarly for this we need style is equal to styles dot country. Country, do I have a country? Okay, it's not capitalized, sorry. So for now what I'll do, just make this capitalize country, I'll make it capitalized country, yeah. So as you can see that I have created the render item for this, but I just have to pass one thing here, which is key extractor. Key extractor is very important for flat list because in React we need a key for all of these. So let's say key extractor will extract keys from it. So what I'll say again, command Z, yeah, I'll say take every item, and from the item dot id is your key. So yep, that's it. So this will render the flat list that I have, and also what I need is two more things. That number of columns, I want two to be visible at once. You can see this particular faded border here, which means that our image is visible on the screen. If I'll scroll it down further, you can see the images are visible. You can see Goa, India, everything is here. But before that, let's do one thing. Let's just style the trip banner once because it's ruining the entire UI right now. So let's just go to here, and for trips banner, what I'll say is trip banner, I need the height to be 150, and I need the width to be 150 as well. Width to be 150 as well. So now you can see my entire list is rendered here. 1, 2, 3. I'll just have to refresh it. I'll reload this. Yep. So all of these are here. This is not functioning how we want, but it will. Just give it some time. I'll tell you how. So maybe my 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, there are 6 only, and 3 are visible, 3 are not. So what I'll say is, where was I? So here I'll say a number of columns to be 2. So what I'll say, number of columns to be 2, and changing number of columns on the fly is not supported, so there is an error. So what I'll have to do is we'll have to pass certain changes here. So okay, so what we can do here is I can just flat list and I change the key prop on flat list. Okay, we'll have to pass a key as well. So what we can do is render item data show vertical list empty key extractor. The key extractor is not working, I guess, here, or it is, but I am not passing the ID very well. Okay, no worries. I'll just copy the error here and we'll debug this. So this is a part of the development process only. You have to debug certain times. So we'll just quickly see that what's the issue here. It says that the question is being this kind of question selected flat list. Okay, you need to add keys. Okay, so we have to add key, but since we are already passing the key, just what we'll do is we'll say key is equal to, so we don't have to pass the key actually. What we can do is, yeah, there was some error from their own side. So you can see the flat list is not being scrolled. That's because there is not enough space between this. So that's why we wrapped entire flat list inside a view. And for this view, what we will do, style is equal to styles dot list wrapper, and now we'll give it some padding. So for list wrapper, it should be above S. So let's say list wrapper, and the list wrapper style is there should be margin bottom 120. Why is it not working? Okay, so there is a comma missing. Now as you can see, there is certain things still missing. So list wrapper, and we have to give it a fixed height. So let's give it a height of, let's say, 420. Now if you'll see, you can scroll it to the end. Now we just have to style individual card here. And as you can see, there is a scroll bar visible, which looks very ugly. So what we will do is show vertical scroll bar. We'll just disable it. Show vertical scroll bar. We'll just make it false. Now if you'll see, the scroll bar is not visible. Also, both of the cards are kind of stick towards the left of the screen, but we want it to be the right of the screen. So what we will do is, there is another prop that we can pass, which is column wrapper style. Column wrapper style. Let's give it styles dot let's say trips list. So which will be trips list. So now I'll just quickly go here. I'll say trips list, and this I want to be space between. So there is just one property that I want, which is justify content space between. Now if you'll see, both of these are sticking towards the extreme ends of the screen. And for this, now I just have to style this place name and the country name. So for that, I have already given it a class name of place and country and a trip card. So I'll start with trip card first of all. So I'll start the trip card. So trip card, cool. So I'll give it a comma here, otherwise it will give error. So my trip card needs to have a background color of white, because the current background color of the application is a shade of white. So this will highlight the cards, which is colors dot white. Now as you can see, white is really looking nice on this. We just have to give it some space and everything. So for this, what I'll do is I'll give it a margin bottom of 12. This will create some space. Next thing that I'll do is I'll give it padding and a border radius. Padding, I need it to have 8 only, and the final thing is a border radius. So I'll give it some padding. As you can see, it is sticking towards each of this. So the next thing that I need is border radius of 18. I think the padding is a lot, so I'll just remove the padding a little bit. Or what I can do is I can yes. So what I can do is I can just make the trip banner a little smaller. So instead of 140, I'll just make it 130. Yeah, this looks good. Now what I have to do is I have to style the country name and the place name. Since as you can see, all of the images are being randomly generated. So if I'll just refresh my application, you'll see all the thumbnails are different. So now I just have to do this thing. I think there is something still missing. I'll just make the padding this as 140, 140. Yeah, this looks great. So now what I'll do is I'll style the country name and place name. So for this, I'll go to here. I'll say place. To style the place, what I'll say font size to be 14, which is the default font size as well. So, okay, a comma is missing here. If I save it, the next thing that I need is a little boldness. So I'll say font weight. I have 600. You can see Goa is looking right now really nice. And obviously the color for this. I think black color is good enough. I just have to give it some margin from the left. So I'll say margin left is 6. So that's it. And the final thing is country, obviously. So if I'll go to here, country. So you can clearly see that I'm trying to style my objects by keeping them alphabetically B, C, H, L, P. So that's how I'm keeping it. So for country, I'll say font size of 10 so that it's smaller. That's great. Next thing, I want font weight of 600 again. Font weight of 600 and yep, again a margin left of 6. Yeah, that's it. So that's it. As you can see that our home page design is completed. We just have to do one thing, that this subheading is kind of sticking to this. So for that, what we will do is we will give it some, let's say margin from the top. So for that, what we can do is we can just go to the subheading component that we have, and where is it? Recent trips. Yep. So where is our subheading? Subheading here. I'll just say margin bottom. I'll say 12. Yep. Now it's good. So our homepage design is completed. Now what we will do is just one more thing is remaining, that whenever I'm clicking on this, I should go to trip expenses page. So for that, I am assuming you already know what we have to do here is on press. So on whenever I'm clicking on this card on press, I want myself to be taken to navigation dot navigate to which page, which is trip expenses. And inside the trip expenses, if you'll see this is the trip expenses. Now if I'll refresh it, I'll be there. Now I need to pass something here, some parameters here, that which trip I'm clicking on. Whenever I'm clicking on this, on next screen, I have to make some work with this particular data. So what I can do is I can pass a second thing here, which is a parameter. I just pass the item as it is. So what will happen when I'll reach the trip expenses page? This item will be accessible from there, and I can use the data inside this item on next screen. So on trip expenses screen. So that's it. On before going forward, we have to do something else here. So what I'll do, I'll just refresh it. Okay, what if my entire data is empty? Like there is no, like I'll just remove this. What if there is no data inside this? So this is a looking like a empty box, which is not a good UI practice. So therefore you should have an empty state in your UI, as I mentioned in the demo as well. So for this, what I have to do is I just go to this thing, my components. I'll create a folder called home for all the home components that I have, and I'll say empty list. So, okay, it has to be a JS file, so I'll rename it empty list.js. I'll quickly put the shortcut here, FES, and I'll say empty list. So okay, so this is an empty list that I'm creating, a UI for my empty list. This will have just two things, but before that I'll have to export the image from here. So I'll just go to my assets folder and I'll say empty trips. So I'll say empty trips. I have already downloaded so it should be an underscore. I have already downloaded the illustration from the internet. So I'll say require images, and inside the images trips empty dot png. So I have exported the empty trips from here. I'll go to this particular file, and inside my empty trip component, empty list component, I'll say not this. Okay, I need a text as well. Let's say you haven't recorded any trip yet. You haven't, it should be small. You haven't recorded any trip yet. So I'll save this. Above this, I need an image. I have to import it from React Native image. I'll just close this, and for the source I'll say images. I'll import the images dot empty trips. So to show you, I'll just go to my home screen, and there is one more prop that we can pass to our flat list, which is render empty list empty component. So what will happen if my list is empty? So for this, I can pass a node here, which is empty list. Yes, you can see this particular illustration is here. So I just have to style this particular component, and this will be good to go. So inside my empty list, I'll just give this a class name, sorry, basically a style name, which is styles dot empty list, and I'll give a style name to this as well, which is a banner, just banner, styles dot banner, and a style name to this as well, styles dot let's say message. And I'll quickly style all of these things. So starting with a banner, I'll take a height of 240, a width of 240, that's it. And next up, I'll take the empty list, the wrapper that we have. For that, I'll just center everything. So you already know how to center it. Just display it as flex, justify content as center, align items as center, and we are done. So, but we need some gap from the top. So what I'll say, margin top, I want it to be 24. And finally, for the message, I want it to be a little bold. So what I'll say is message. For the message, I'll say font size is 14 by default, and I'll say font weight to be, let's say 600. And 600 should be enclosed in quotes, as I mentioned earlier as well. Yep. So as you can see, if there are no trips, this is the empty state that we have. So my home screen is completed. So that's it. In the next part, I'll be creating the page for adding a trip. So see you in the next video. Thank you.